There were no other woman's messages on his phone I didn't see. I didn't catch him in any lies about where he was late at night. He'd had no lipstick on his collar, no strange perfume clinging to his jacket, no epic showdown that culminated in tears and screaming. He didn't cheat. He did something quieter. Something harder to explain. Something that hurt longer. He erased me from his life. It didn't happen all at once. That would have been too straightforward, too kind. It was a quiet transformation. It was a polite one. It almost happened gently, like pressing delete on a file with too many redundant details. When we first met, he saw me. Really saw me. He remembered how I took my coffee, about the scars on my body, and some of the childhood memories I mentioned to him just once. He used to look at me as if I were a room he never wanted to leave, as if my being there added something to his day rather than disrupted it. Back then, I felt chosen. But betrayal is not the only chapter love can lead to. Sometimes it ends in neglect masquerading as normalcy. The first thing he rubbed out was time. He stopped carving out time for me on his calendar. Not terribly, just that it made me feel silly to ask. Work is insane right now, he'd say. Or, let's plan something soon. Became a word with no meaning the moment we said it. Days passed. Then weeks. And when we did connect, I felt hurried, as if I were a meeting sandwiched between the important ones. I said to myself, this is adulthood. That relationship's mature. That passion calms down. But love isn't supposed to seem like waiting in a hallway. Then he erased my voice. I would begin telling him about my day, and he'd nod without paying attention. He would glance at his phone, his attention elsewhere. Whenever I attempted to share something meaningful to me, my fears, my aspirations, he would offer straight solutions in place of empathy. Or worse, silence. I began shortening my sentences. Then my stories. Then my feelings. And finally, I learned to speak so that I was not heard. The next thing he deleted was my place. I used to be in his future conversations. When we do this, when we go there, slowly those sentences began to not include me. His plans became singular. I was on the outside of those dreams he imagined. If people asked about us, he would answer vaguely. Not hiding me, just not hanging on to me. I was next to him. Yet in my own relationship, I felt oddly not welcome. I wasn't his partner anymore. I was background noise. And the most painful part? He was still kind. That's what made it confusing. He didn't insult me. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't accuse or manipulate. He simply withdrew, emotionally, mentally, invisibly. If he had been cheating, I may have had a reason to be mad. I'd have been able to hit back if he'd screamed. I could have grieved cleanly if he had left abruptly. But he stayed, just empty. I started doubting myself. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I expected too much. Maybe this was what love looked like after the thrill was gone. So I tried harder. I became more empathic, more patient, more present. And I compressed myself to the smaller space he had opened for me. I stopped asking for reassurance. I stopped expressing disappointment. I ceased to be a person and started turning into an inconvenience-free iteration of myself. And still, he kept erasing. He just stopped sharing his inner world. I didn't know what bothered him anymore. I didn't know what excited him. I didn't know what made him scared. I knew his schedule, but I didn't know his heart. I knew when he was too busy, but not when he missed me. I was dating a body, without presence. One evening, I saw myself in the mirror and did not recognize the woman looking back. She looked tired, smaller, like someone long fading without knowing it. That was when it hit me. He hadn't been fooling around. He didn't have to. He had already emotionally left. Note here that I haven't approached him with anger. I've approached him with exhaustion. I told him I felt invisible, that I missed us, that I didn't feel like I was important. He listened calmly. Too calmly. I had no idea you felt like that, he said. And in that moment I knew. It was worse to not be aware than it was to deny. It meant that my non-presence in his emotional life wasn't an accident. It was the new norm. There was no dramatic breakup. No slammed doors. Just a whispered acceptance that I was clinging to something that didn't exist anymore. It hurt too much to walk away. though to stay would have written me out altogether. Healing didn't come fast. There were nights when I questioned everything. My worth, my standards, how he had once been. I missed the man he once was. I grieved the future I thought we were creating. But slowly something returned. My voice came back. My laughter came back. My sense of self came back. What I learned is that love isn't evidenced by presence, it's evidenced by engagement. By picking someone again and again, as opposed to just keeping them around while your heart is wandering.
He didn't cheat.
But he taught me something more painful and more precious. That it can be more painful to be dismissed in love than betrayed. That loneliness can be isolating even in company. And that remaining where you are and gradually fizzling out is the riskiest option of all. At least now, when someone gazes at me, I'm more discerning about their gaze. I pay attention to whether it would be an issue if I were not there anymore when they talk. When they love, I wonder if it makes me feel more like myself, or less. And I will never let someone quietly erase me again. I need to be chosen loudly.